Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're the show that takes, well, stacks of compelling information and really tries to distill it down to the most important, maybe surprising, and genuinely useful insights for you.
That's cool.
And today, we're embarking on a pretty deep dive into the profound world of J. Krishnamurti. Now, this is a figure, I mean, his influence was huge. The Dalai Lama called him one of the greatest thinkers of the age.
High praise.
Right. And Time magazine even named him, alongside Mother Teresa, get this, as one of the 5 saints of the 20th century.
Wow.
Yeah. And at the heart of his life's work was this, well, revolutionary idea that real change, whether it's, deeply personal transformation or a bigger shift in society, it fundamentally springs from deep self-knowledge.
And our source for this deep dive is actually, I think, particularly accessible and insightful. It's his work called Relationships, to oneself, to others, to the world. What's really striking about this collection, its talks and writings, is that while it was originally put together for young people, its wisdom just resonates incredibly deeply, really with all ages.
Yeah, I found that too.
It offers a really foundational and often challenging understanding of what it truly means to be well-connected.
That's right. So our mission today is really to unpack Krishnamurti's unique perspective on what it means to genuinely be in relationship, first to ourselves, then, to the people around us, and also to the vast, complex world we all live in. We're going to discover how understanding these connections, really at their deepest level, could be your shortcut to a truly well-informed and maybe even a transformed life. So let's dive in.
Okay.
So to kick things off, Krishnamurti presents this pretty foundational idea. It might seem obvious at first, but he takes it way deeper. All life is relationship. He says there's just no escaping it. Even a hermit, someone who retreats to a remote mountaintop, they're still related to the past, to ideas, to the people they left behind.
Yeah, you can't actually disconnect fully.
Exactly. And this constant movement, this sort of living in relationship, he argues, it's like a mirror.
He describes this mirror of relationship as a direct reflection of who we truly are. And that's the key part, not who we think we are, or maybe who we wish we were.
Right.
When you interact with another person, or even, say, with nature, your reactions pop up, your hidden prejudices, maybe your fears, anxieties, that deep loneliness we sometimes feel. And also, importantly, your capacity for love. It's all laid bare. But here's the crucial point he makes. We often instinctively, almost automatically, distort this mirror. We prefer to see, well, an idealized version of ourselves, rather than just confronting what is.
That's a challenging idea, isn't it? It suggests we're often actively, maybe unconsciously, avoiding seeing ourselves clearly.
Yeah, definitely.
And it gets even more challenging because Krishnamurti observed that many of our relationships are actually processes of isolation rather than real connection.
Isolation, how so?
Well, think about it. They're often primarily concerned with our own personal gratification, our satisfaction. He says the moment discomfort arises, or maybe our expectations aren't met,
We pull back.
we're quick to discard that relationship, or at least create distance. It's kind of a tough truth to face about how we often operate.
It really is. And this raises a really important question. If our relationships are so often driven by this self-gratification, how can we possibly understand anything beyond our own, desires and needs?
Right.
Krishnamurti's core idea here is that without deep self-knowledge, knowing yourself truly deeply, our thinking and our whole understanding of life just have very little meaning. It's superficial.
So it lacks foundation.
Exactly. He states it quite directly. Understanding yourself is the key to understanding everyone else. Because fundamentally, human brains are, as he puts it, more alike than unalike. We all share these common fears, anxieties, desires.
That common ground. And here's where his insights really start to, challenge conventional wisdom. He talks about the illusion of security in relationships.
Yes, security.
For most of us, security is like the holy grail in a relationship, isn't it? We want comfort, stability.
Of course, it feels natural.
But Krishnamurti says if we seek security, relationships become inherently painful. They turn into, and this is his phrase, an investment in comfort, in illusion.
Wow, an investment in illusion.
Yeah, and then he drops this bombshell. The true greatness of relationship is its very insecurity.
Okay, that sounds paradoxical.
It's truly counterintuitive. What on earth does he mean by embracing insecurity here? He can't mean just chaos, right? It must be something else.
No, definitely not chaos or instability in the way we usually think about it. I think for Krishnamurti, when we cling to security in a relationship, we're essentially building a wall. We're protecting an image of ourselves, trying to control the other person or the situation to fit our, preconceived ideas of what comfort should look like.
Okay, I see.
The insecurity he speaks of is more like radical openness. It's the willingness to confront what is actually happening in the relationship and in yourself without trying to control it or force it into a box or escape from it.
So not demanding certainty.
Exactly. That willingness to stand there kind of psychologically naked without the illusion of guaranteed comfort, that's where the true discovery and growth can happen. It's about living fully in the present moment of the relationship without that mental demand for a specific, secure outcome.
That puts it in a completely different light. It's really about presence, not possession or control.
Precisely.
And this foundational understanding of relationship, well, it naturally leads Krishnamurti to explore some of the most intimate and often, let's face it, misunderstood aspects of human connection.
Right.
Love, sex, and desire. And he urges us to look beyond our conditioning.
Right. And when he asks, what is love? Krishnamurti immediately pushes us to just discard all our preconceived ideas, all the ideologies, everything we've been told about what love should be.
Like wiping the slate clean.
Yeah. Is it just sensuous delight? Is it maybe a state within you that exists even without an object? Or does it only come into being because of an object, like another person? He really pushes us to question our deepest assumptions, to look at the feeling itself without all the baggage of accumulated thought.
And his insight on love and respect. That's particularly powerful, I think. He argues that obviously there is no love when there is no real respect.
Mm-hmm. Seems straightforward, but...
But then he critically points out the societal tendency, we respect those above us, the boss, the millionaire, whatever, but often we metaphorically kick those below us in the hierarchy.
Yeah, that's uncomfortable, but often true.
True love, he argues, only really comes when those self-centered pursuits completely stop. This isn't just about being nice to people, is it? It sounds much more like a radical internal shift.
It truly is. If you're constantly seeking something for yourself from a relationship, whether it's security, pleasure, validation, even just feeling good, Krishnamurti says, well, that's not love.
What is it then?
It's more like a transaction, maybe a form of using the other person. Love, for him, demands a complete stepping away from that self-serving lens, which is, let's be honest, incredibly challenging.
Extremely.
It's about a state of being, an energy that doesn't demand anything in return, that isn't dependent on what it receives.
And he emphasizes, too, that love isn't quantitative. It's not like loving the whole world broadly or, superficially.
Right, not just a general feeling.
Instead, he says it's qualitative. If you know how to truly love one person with that non-demanding, non-self-centered quality.
The quality of it.
Then you know how to love the whole. Otherwise, he says, any talk of loving humanity is just fictitious. It's all about the depth and the quality of the connection, not the sheer number of people you claim to love.
And this profound understanding of self-centeredness, well, it leads us straight into his quite provocative view on sex.
Yes.
Krishnamurti states pretty bluntly that the act of sex itself isn't the problem. The problem is the thought about the act.
The thought about it.
Yeah. He points out how society, through everything, cinemas, magazines, fashion, everyday conversations, constantly builds up and sensationalizes the thought of sex, making it this central, often obsessive issue in our minds.
What's really fascinating there is his deeper analysis of why sex becomes so central for so many people. He explains it's often seen as this rare avenue to ultimate escape.
An escape.
Yeah, a moment of complete self-forgetfulness from what he calls the me. When he talks about the me, what exactly is he referring to there?
By the me, he's really talking about the ego, isn't he? That constant self-referential thought process that defines and, frankly, limits our experience.
The I.
The I that's constantly judging, comparing, seeking validation, asserting itself. Most of our waking life is just dominated by this me. Sex, potentially in that brief moment of maybe complete self-forgetfulness, can temporarily dissolve that individualistic me that allows a different, maybe unburdened state to emerge.
I see.
But, and this is the caution, when this experience is clung to as the escape, or it becomes an object of desire just to be repeated for pleasure.
Then it becomes a problem.
Exactly. Even that brief sense of freedom becomes a new form of attachment, and that leads to unhappiness, a kind of nightmare, as he puts it.
So it's the attachment to the escape, not the escape itself, that creates the issue. That makes sense. He also clearly distinguishes between desire and love.
Yes.
Desire, he says, it's just energy. It shouldn't be suppressed because that actually destroys sensitivity and intensity.
Like, suppression isn't the answer.
Desire naturally leads to pleasure. But true love, he suggests, is something different, a bliss and ecstasy that comes from understanding the whole phenomenon desire, pleasure, and pain, not from trying to just manipulate them for more pleasure.
And he takes that distinction even further by separating pleasure from passion.
Pleasure versus passion.
Yeah. Pleasure, he notes, always involves effort, right? Craving, a struggle to maintain it. It's about grasping at a sensation.
Trying to hold on to it.
Exactly. But passion, on the other hand, he describes as freedom from the me. It's without demand, without struggle. It leads to pure joy and ecstasy. It's an unburdened, unconditioned state of intense energy. That's a profoundly different experience than just chasing pleasure.
That makes so much sense. One is about accumulating, trying to get something. The other is just about being in that state.
Beautifully put.
And on the topic of sexuality, Krishnamurti holds a very direct and impartial view regarding homosexuality. He states it simply is a fact like heterosexuality.
Just stating what is.
Right. He questions why society makes one an enormous problem while accepting the other. He suggests, we don't try to change a mountain or a bird, so why get worked up about sexual preference? It's simply an observation of reality, without adding judgment or moralization.
It's remarkably straightforward, isn't it? Just seeing what is.
Exactly. So if our individual relationships are these mirrors, then it logically follows that our collective relationships, well, they form society. Krishnamurti's premise here is quite radical. Society is us.
Not something separate from us.
No. He argues that if our individual relationships are marked by anger, jealousy, fear, prejudice, then we are collectively creating a crazy society.
It puts the responsibility squarely on us.
Totally. So solving your personal problems, he says, directly contributes to solving the world's problems. It's a really powerful call to personal responsibility as the actual means of global change.
That really flips the script, doesn't it? We often think about societal change starting from the top down or big movements.
Right, policies and structures.
But he's saying, no, it starts right here with you, with me. And this understanding naturally extends into how he views education.
Okay, education.
Beyond just academics, facts and figures, true education, in Krishnamurti's view, cultivates intelligence. And he's careful here, not just cunning or cleverness.
Not just being smart.
No, it's a deeper clarity that arises when one is genuinely not afraid. Not afraid of criticism, not afraid of failure. It's about fostering inner strengths and real understanding, not just accumulating information.
And this brings up a critical point for anyone involved in teaching or parenting, for that matter.
Absolutely. Right. Education, he says, is not about conforming children to society's norms or, the expectations of their parents.
Which is often the default, isn't it?
It often is. It requires educators, teachers, parents to be free from systems and prejudices themselves, to truly understand each child's unique tendencies with, as he says, skill, intense interest, and above all, a sense of affection. He really turns the tables here, placing the burden of transformation squarely on the adults.
It's a difficult mirror for us adults to look into, isn't it? He asserts the true problem often lies not with the child, but with the educator, meaning parents and teachers.
Ouch.
Yeah. He states that we often impart what to think rather than how to think. And we prioritize our own pursuits, our own anxieties, over the child's actual holistic development. I mean, as educators or parents, how often do we unconsciously put our own fears or conditioning ahead of truly seeing and nurturing the child for who they are?
It's a profound question for self-examination, really.
Yeah.
And this circles right back to that powerful idea about parenting. What does it mean to truly love one's children?
Right.
Krishnamurti provocatively suggests that if parents truly love their children, in that qualitative, non-self-centered way we talked about.
With real respect without using them?
Exactly. Then they would not be nationalistic, because nationalism inevitably leads to war, which harms children. They would understand property's true significance, maybe avoid organized religion, which so often divides people, and fundamentally they would alter society. It's a call for a complete reevaluation of our priorities and our deep responsibilities as parents.
That's an incredible chain of thought, connecting that personal love for one child all the way up to global societal transformation.
It is.
And this connects further to the danger he sees in using others. He explains that relationships based on, say, mutual need or using others for a purpose, well, they prevent true communion. They reduce the other person to, and this is his phrase again, a piece of furniture, just an object there to fulfill our desires or needs. A society built on that kind of usage, he concludes, is literally the foundation of violence.
Wow. That makes you rethink so many daily interactions, doesn't it? Even small ones.
Absolutely. And he also highlights the art of listening. He calls it a great art and says it's absolutely crucial for genuine communion.
Listening. Seems simple, but it's not.
It's really not. He observed how our minds are often just too occupied with our own internal chatter, our opinions, judgments, planning the reply to truly listen. Not just to other people, but even to the natural world around us.
That constant noise in the head.
Yeah, that quiet, attentive, non-judgmental presence is key, he suggests, to dissolving the barriers between us.
Building on that idea that society is us, Krishnamurti argues quite deeply that you are the world, and what you are the world is.
Okay, unpack that a bit.
It means your personal transformation, whatever's happening inside you, isn't just a personal project. It's directly linked to changing the world. The world's problems, conflict, greed, division, are reflections of your internal conflicts, my internal conflicts.
So solving my internal stuff actually helps solve the world stuff.
Directly. It's not separate. And here's where it gets truly impactful, especially when we think about large-scale conflict, like war.
Right.
He locates the root causes of war not in, say, external technologies or political systems primarily.
Not in bombs or treaties alone.
No, but in you, in our individual greed, ambition, nationalism, our inherent psychological conflict. He suggests we try to, quote, legalize war with things like international laws and security councils, precisely because we won't face the much harder task, eradicating these internal causes within ourselves.
That's a heavy thought. We're avoiding the real work.
It seems to be his point.
So if the problem is internal, then the solution has to be internal too. Krishnamurti argues that a radical revolution in the relationship between just two human beings is absolutely essential to end war, to end national divisions, class differences, all of it.
So it starts small, in the personal.
It starts in the one-on-one. It's not about grand political gestures first, but fundamental shifts in how we actually relate to each other.
And a huge part of that, he says, is letting go of image formation. This idea seems really central to so much of his work, doesn't it?
It really does. What exactly does he mean by image formation?
It's the mental pictures, right? The labels, the preconceived notions we create about ourselves and about others. Like, I'm American, or you are Christian, they are a doctor. Or even subtle ones like, I am spiritual, or I am knowledgeable.
These mental boxes we put people in, including ourselves?
Exactly. He argues these aren't reality, they're just mental constructs. But they inevitably lead to division and conflict because we relate to the image, not the person or the reality. And that makes us willing to fight, even kill, over an abstract idea, a word, an image, instead of seeing the actual human being or the complex reality behind that label.
That's incredibly powerful. The idea that our own mental constructs, these images, are the very things causing so much real-world suffering and violence.
It's a direct link. And his perspective extends this way of seeing to our relationship with nature, too.
So?
He notes it's often purely utilitarian. We're using that tree for shade or for lumber, or we utilize the earth just to feed and clothe ourselves. He says there's often no real love of the earth, just usage.
She's seeing it as a resource.
Purely. But he also describes this extraordinary thing that can happen when you actually work the earth with your own hands. He hints at a deeper communion, a sense of being part of it, rather than separate from it and just dominating it.
A different quality of connection.
Exactly. And this idea of killing then goes beyond just, hunting animals or eating meat. He points to the pervasive cruelty and hate in the world, including war, including things like vivisection. The real problem, he states, is this increasing cruelty and hate within us, this internal aggression that then just manifests outwardly.
So it's an internal battle for kindness and nonviolence, not just an external campaign against specific acts of violence.
Right. The root is internal.
So to kind of wrap up this section, he touches on this idea of becoming part of the wholeness of nature. And he says this isn't through imagination, just thinking about it or trying to identify with it mentally. It's simply by being present without the inward chatter. What does he mean by letting go of that inward chatter to truly connect?
That inward chatter, well, it's that constant stream of thoughts, isn't it? Judgments, labels, self-referential narratives, worries, plans, just the noise that occupies our minds almost all the time.
The voice in the head.
Yeah, the voice in the head. It's the me constantly evaluating, planning, regretting, commenting. When that ceaseless activity quiets down, even for a moment, and you are simply present with what is the tree, the bird song, the feeling of the earth, without the overlay of your own thoughts and interpretations.
Without naming it or judging it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Then, he says, you are no longer separate. You just are part of the wholeness. It doesn't happen through effort, but through simple, unburdened awareness.
So, with all this deep exploration of interrelationship, self-knowledge, societal reflection, what about the big question, the purpose of life?
The ultimate question.
Right. And Krishnamurti, characteristically perhaps, insists that before we even seek the purpose of life, we absolutely must first understand this extraordinarily complex state of interrelationship that defines our actual existence.
Ground ourselves first.
Yes. Otherwise, he says, any search for reality or purpose is probably just an escape from everyday action, from the reality of our lives and relationships as they are right now. It's about grounding yourself in the reality of your present connections first.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And this naturally leads to his perspective on conventional notions of religion. He challenges them directly and profoundly.
How so?
He states pretty bluntly that belief is corruption.
Whoa, strong words.
Yeah, because belief, he says, separates Hinduism, Buddhism, Christianity, Islam, whatever label. It creates division. True religion for him is not about rituals, chants, dogma, or gods. Instead, it's a feeling of goodness. It's that love which is like the river, living, moving everlastingly.
So it's an active state of being, not a static belief system.
Exactly. Active, non-dogmatic, flowing. Not something fixed or prescribed.
And his view on meditation is equally, well, revolutionary compared to common practices.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not about mantras, repeating prayers, or specific rituals that he felt could just drug the mind, make it dull.
So what is it then?
Instead, he defines meditation as a constant awareness of every thought, of every feeling, of every act. And this is absolutely critical, without condemnation or judgment.
Just watching.
Just pure, silent observation of whatever is happening within you and around you. No right or wrong, just seeing. And he explains that true silence in meditation, that deep quietness, it comes naturally. It's not forced through discipline or control. Yeah. It happens when there is no longer an experiencer or a thinker standing separate from the thought or the feeling itself.
When that division collapses.
Exactly. When that division dissolves, there's a state he calls innocency. The mind is completely fresh, open, allowing the unknown to be. A state that's beyond the confines of anything you can already conceptualize or know. It's a kind of radical emptying of the mind.
And in that same vein, he reinforces his idea that you cannot capture God or truth or reality and put him in the cage of what you know.
Like a definition or a concept.
Right. Not in a temple, not in a book, not even in a guru. It's an expansive, uncontainable truth that can only be approached maybe with an open, empty, questioning mind.
Ultimately, then, the truly religious person, according to Krishnamurti's definition, isn't concerned with escaping facts or performing rituals to gain something.
What are they concerned with?
Instead, they are concerned with the transformation of society, but understanding that society is himself or herself.
Beck, society is us.
Exactly. So the transformation involves a complete cessation of greed, envy, ambition within oneself. It's about bringing the inner world and the outer world into alignment through this personal radical change.
Wow. So we've really explored Krishnamurti's profound vision today, this idea that relationship, when it's understood deeply, without distortion, is the mirror to ourselves. It's the true key, maybe, to understanding love beyond just conditioning. It's the very foundation of a sane society, and it's the ultimate path, he suggests, to real, lasting transformation, both personal and collective.
Yeah, he doesn't really offer quick fixes or, external solutions, does he?
Not at all. Instead, he really challenges us to move beyond superficial connections and all our layers of conditioned thinking. He urges us, really, to look deeply and maybe fearlessly within ourselves.
And with that in mind, maybe consider this provocative idea from Krishnamurti to leave our listeners with. The search for God, for truth, the feeling of being completely good is true religion. But, he says, you can do that only when you leave the pool you have dug for yourself and go out into the river of life.
The pool you have dug for yourself. So the question for you, listening, might be, what pool might you be holding on to in your own relationships? Maybe it's a desire for security, maybe an old image of yourself you're protecting, or just a fixed idea of how things should be.
Yeah.
And maybe how might you begin to step into that river of life this week? Perhaps simply by observing your own reactions, your own intentions in your relationships, without judging them, just noticing, as Krishnamurti suggests.